lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast that prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello, and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's #1 lycanthrope, Jack Russell, a.k.a. the Werewolf, a.k.a. the Beast, a.k.a. the Shaggy One, a.k.a. Russell Jackson, a.k.a. the Demon of Wundagore. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other host, Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us this week, listeners. We had a couple of exciting episodes there where we had Michael Giacchino on to talk about Werewolf by Night special that he directed for Disney Plus and Marvel. And then we talked about the famous Iron Man number 209. Yeah, they were just riding off that high, just kind of coming down. We've crested. Now it's just you and me looking at each other.
Yep. Back to basics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride. And I love people coming up to me, people that knew that we do this show and just like saying, hey, I watched that and I really liked it. And I know nothing about, Marvel or superheroes.
Yeah.
Hearing good stuff.
Yeah, it is. I found that too. Like, a lot of people that I know were talking about watching it and were excited. A lot of people I know listened to the podcast for the first time, listened to Michael's interview. And I know we're getting more listeners from that. That's for sure.
Definitely. Which
is nice. No, it's this is definitely our come down week after our very exciting couple of weeks. But this is nice. It's nice to get back to talking about a Captain America issue.
Yep. Yeah, if you listen to the bonus show, which we do every week for our Patreon supporters, you've heard us do a couple Cap issues because Cap and the Scourge are intertwined, and we are doing the Urge to Scourge, which is about the 80s villain killer, the Scourge of the underworld. And so if you listen to that show, you've heard us gush about Mark Gruenwald's writing, whichever artist he has on at the week. Mike Zeck covers. There's not a lot to dislike, honestly. This is a book that was up there pretty high with me, and I was not patriotic and not into government-funded superheroes in my junior high years, tween years. But I've always liked this book. But one thing I do want to put out there, if you are a new listener to the show, we would love to hear what you thought about the special or what you're thinking about the issues that we're hoping that some people out there watch the special and decide, hey, I'm going to buy this digitally or buy an Epic collection or buy whatever, and have done so. If you have, give us a call and let us know like how you found it, what you're thinking about it so far. We have a voicemail, and that's 971-220-5865. That's 971-220-JUNK. Give us a call. Let us know what you're thinking. We would love to play your voicemail on the show.
Hi, Jackson T. Overstreet with a sexy chest cold voice for you. I thought I would call in for Iron Man 209 and do a quick little Brad Elmore casting couch. I feel Morgan Le Fay is too important a character to not get cast. She's, I believe, one of the only villains who showed up in Spider-Woman to have any impact on the larger Marvel universe. So with that in mind, and that Iron Man 209 had a cover date of May 1986, it has to be Carolyn Monroe. Matt can tell you everything anyone will ever want to know about her, but I think she's perfect. And then real quick, I think Tony Stark is Timothy Dalton. Just have him grow the stash he had in Flash Gordon. Keep the British accent. Why not? What's more hateable than an American who's affecting a British accent, kind of like Madonna in the 90s? Hell, I think, now I think about it, I think Alex Ross even drew Timothy Dalton as Tony Stark in Marvels. Anyway, once I thought of Miss Monroe, I just thought that casting was just too perfect to not share it with you guys. Anyway, stay furry.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to, I know a certain percentage will seek out the comics and will definitely check out the the early run. If you go on Marvel Unlimited, the trending list on there, Werewolf by Night is #1, and that's the old series. So I know a lot more people are checking it out than ever have before.
That's awesome.
Literally, probably.
Yeah. I'm hoping that some of them did a little extra homework and found Marvel Spotlight 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have the experience that I did as a 11-year-old, and we're like, wait, what? This is #1, which you guys all heard me talk about a lot in season 1.
Yep. No, I wondered that too, and I'm assuming that a fair portion are just like, what the fuck did I get dropped into?
Yep.
But still, great. It was really, really satisfying and exciting to see. Werewolf by Night #1 on the Marvel Unlimited trending.
No, man, that cool. Just gives me the happies right there.
I know, right? It's just it's so nice, and we have gone on and on about how much we love the character. We've given the character the deepest dive he's ever gotten, and it's very rewarding that people are coming to this and being so excited about it. It's what we've wanted all along, Matt. Mm-hmm. We just wanted people to care about Werewolf by Night, and now the whole world does.
Yeah. And so sometimes we record these a little ahead of time, so sometimes we're out of sync, but I believe that as you listen to this, is it Chamber of Shadows, a one-shot, Halloween one-shot by Marvel's being released that has Jack Russell and some other monster characters in it? I think it's kind of an anthology of short stories or something. I
think so. I think it's Chamber of Shadows, yeah.
So yeah, I haven't had a chance to read it yet because it's not out there, but I would love to see Jack again, particularly without a ponytail or mirrored sunglasses. So
yeah, that would be nice. I mean, he had some sporadic appearances over the last 20 years. He did. I think he's been missing just a few years from Marvel continuity, comics wise. So yeah, it'll be nice. It's nice that he's getting dusted off and putting back into an anthology book.
Yeah. All right. So for this issue, we're talking about Captain America number 330, which is cover dated June 1987. Jacob, where were you in June 87? What's going on in your life?
Let's see. I was 10 years old. My birthday was June 21st. So I do believe that I had just moved from the tiny mountain town of Sandy, Oregon, to the tiny suburb of Gresham, Oregon. I do believe that was my first year there.
And so there's a comic shop there, right? You talked about that when we had Rob on.
Yeah, that's right. About a month. Yeah, it was a comic shop that I had kind of known before this a little bit, just because the town of Sandy I lived in the mid 80s didn't really have a grocery store. So we would have to drive down to Gresham, which was the big city, and go to like the Fred Meyer there.
Like CBI.
Yes. And so we would have to go. And we would go to the little mini mall outside thing that this comic shop was in, called House of Fantasy, which I've talked about on previous episodes. As my memories are, they were run by a married couple who were about 90 years old, but I'm pretty sure I'm older than they were then.
Right.
The way that we remember things.
Subjectivity of memory.
Yeah. So I was just, I'm 10, they're probably 40. And I was just like, you're ancient.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was definitely buying comics from House of Fantasy in 1987. And I definitely was buying Captain America too. So this is, we finally reached a point for me where we're reading issues. I think starting with the episode we had Brian and Rob on, West Coast Avengers, I think that was the first one that I knew that I had bought off the stands that we're covering.
Granddad, how does it feel to lap yourself?
That's nice, right? It's kind of nice.
Yeah, you bought this from two Skeksis.
Yeah,
were probably 42 years old.
They were probably 42 years old and in great health. Yeah. But I imagine them as Skeksis. Absolutely.
I mentioned before, I think on the bonus show with the Ursha Scourge, that I was kind of rebellious. I was getting the music for the first real time. And so I was kind of embracing like my parents' music. So I was listening to the Beatles. And then I joined all the Columbia House tape clubs and all that stuff. I was just buying Doors, Pink Floyd, whatever was on there that was old. So I was getting very counterculture-y and reading books about the Beatles and stuff like that. So Captain America to me was very square and very uncool. Plus, he was very cool when the bicentennial happened in 1976. So he had kind of blown up when I was a little tiny kid. And there was still stuff around where it's just like sick of seeing him. So he was kind of like, the man's hero. And But I still bought this stuff because I loved it because of his political stance and his principles, and that he would not do anything that he did not feel was in the keeping of the best interest of the American dream, which I still find endearing.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, but that's one of the enduring parts of Cap's personality, is that anytime a government starts to slide towards fascism, he taps out and says he doesn't want any part of it. So still my guy for that.
Yeah. And I feel like that he should have some kind of motto like the guy from Creature Features, like "Keep America Great, punch a Nazi." Like that should be on t-shirts with his face on it. Okay, so yes, this is 330, and you might have to give me a little bit of a history lesson on this character on the cover, because I kind of know him, but I never really knew him. But we've got a beautiful Mike Zeck cover. He's one of my favorite cover artists. He's one of my favorite artists in the 80s period. But there's this guy who has this suit that is the original Daredevil's outfit, essentially crossed with Wolverine's cowl. And he's a big wrestling guy, and his name is Demolition Man. He was also known as D-Man. He was a guy that we met in The Thing during the Urge to Scourge story. He appeared and he was just a wrestler. He went to the Power Broker and got powered up. This story actually crosses over with that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the outcomes here. So he is juiced up. He looks like Bane on Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. And he is punching in a small steel-plated room, and Cap is just ducking just under it, missing it as he's punching through this wall. It's Mike Zeck, so I love the faces. I love Mike Zeck's faces, man, so much. Like the Secret Wars #1 cover is like one of my favorite covers ever, period. So yeah, I mean, this art's gorgeous. It's simple. But yeah, I don't know D-Man much. I know that he was just kind of a weird wrestler guy who started hanging around with the Thing and then got swept into like the superhero world and just kind of hung around for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. I mean, I started reading. I don't know. I mean, maybe he has some kind of precedent in the Silver Age or something, but I'm only familiar with him through Captain America. And so I went back and read a few issues prior to this. And yeah, I mean, I read the one where he and Cap meet, and I think he started out as a grappler, like as one of the
capital G grapplers.
Yeah, capital G grapplers, and yeah, and then he got juiced up by Dr. Malice or the Power Broker, and so that's kind of. And yeah, we see that in this issue and before. And yeah, I don't know if he's really exists too much before now. And his costume is very strange. Somehow they thought it would be a great idea. I mean, it's kind of a fake out, right? Like Wolverine in 87 is a pretty fucking popular character. So you put someone that looks like a jacked up Wolverine on the cover, kids are going to buy it. And I bet a few kids bought this and were like, where the fuck is Wolverine?
But he was like, did you ever? I always got the impression he was kind of a joke character, like he just was a superhero fan who was a wrestler. So he, like, when he made a costume, he was just like, oh, I remember when Daredevil first popped up, I thought he looked cool, and then I love that X-Men guy. So like, he just kind of threw together like a mishmash of costumes, which I thought was kind of cool in a weird way. It
is kind of cool, but obviously, I mean, he doesn't wear his Wolverine hood in the whole issue, so that was obviously left on there.
Oh yeah,
on the cover.
You're talking about the cover, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm talking about the cover. So yeah, I mean, I think that they definitely did that on purpose to try and
just milk a few more quarters.
Few more quarters from those kiddos. So yeah, let's move ahead though. Let's move on to the opening page.
I didn't mention the inker, which is Bob McLeod. Sorry.
Oh, Bob McLeod. Yeah, I mean, I think Zeck works a lot with Bob McLeod in the 80s. I feel like he's one of the main inkers for Zeck.
Definitely.
And Bob McLeod is awesome. We've seen great stuff over and over again. Yeah. So the opening page, the title of our story is Night Shift. And this is definitely an early appearance for Night Shift.
Do we know if it's the first?
I don't know if it's the first. That I didn't know. But so the cast of creators for this issue are Mark Grunwald, writer, Tom Morgan, penciler, Sam De La Rosa, inker, Diana Albers, letters, Kevin Fedunovich, colorist, Don Daly, editor, and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief.
I would also accept Fedunowitz. I don't know which one it is. This is the first appearance of the Night Shift as a team.
Okay, well there you go. That's pretty cool. That's the title.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. So Tom Morgan's first Marvel credit was penciling Dazzler 37, and that is in May of '85. So he's only been there a couple years. But in the early '80s, he mostly did like fill-in art for books like Spider-Man, The Eternals, Vision and Scarlet Witch. This is his first issue of Cap, and he'll stay on the book for the next year and do great work on it. Like he does an amazing job.
Yeah, we were really digging Paul Neary in that Scourge issue we read. I jumped to this and was like, I could tell it's a different artist, but I'm still digging it. It's such a good match to Grunwald's storytelling.
I think it's a great match, and we know that Sam De La Rosa is a great inker. So I think that, and so yeah, he just I don't know. I was very impressed with the art for this. It's very '80s Marvel. It's clean, but in a
complimentary way. Yeah,
in a complimentary way that is definitely has that '80s feel that you and I know from being kids and reading these. But it's not cheesy. Like I think it translates well to today as well.
Definitely.
So yeah, this full page illustration at the beginning is of Cap fighting a losing battle with some mutates, and it's pretty good. Like I love the title font, the kind of night shift with dripping letters, and I really like the colors. So yeah, I like this new color. I hope we get to see him on other stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with Don Daly before this one, I don't think.
No.
Although I didn't really give colorists the proper due until about 15 years after I read this issue for the first time. So
Yep, I know. So yeah, the opening narration says the sewers of Los Angeles are alive tonight with monsters who once were men, victims of science gone awry. These misshapen mutates prowl the dank tunnels in search of prey. Woe to be anything that crosses their path. So pretty awesome.
Yeah, and these guys are, if you're just listening, they remind me of that guy from Marvel Spotlight, number 3 or 4, that was in the castle that fought
Craig.
Yeah,
Craig. That's right.
With a K. They kind of look like him, where they're just kind of like big, muscly, and they look like there's something, there's something wrong with them.
Yes.
Part shark or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they're throttling Cap, shoving him under the sewer water. One guy has Cap's shield and is raising it over his head in like rage/triumph. A couple of them are just punching Cap underwater. Yeah, this splash page totally got me. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, but you're right. I didn't realize, I didn't identify it as something that the guy in the beginning, in the middle of the page, really reminds me of a Plug monster.
Totally.
Like it has a Plug feel to it, and I think that's why I really identified with this page, and I hadn't isolated it until then.
I didn't either. I just knew I really liked it and responded to it. Now that you say it's Plug, I'm like, yeah, that's a Plug cousin for sure. Yeah, so Cap's been struggling. He's being drowned and punched underwater, and he finally manages to. There's some great action in this issue. He finally gets leverage and kicks one of the freaks into another freak, the one that's holding his shield, which makes it fly back towards him. This awesome panel of him jumping out of the water, getting his first breath and who knows how long, and catching his shield sideways behind his back while he's shoving another guy's head under sewer water. And he's thinking to himself, like, these poor guys, well, the wording is, there's an art to fighting hordes of mentally disadvantaged brutes. I was like, wow, that doesn't age well.
Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, for the 80s, that's pretty tame.
Yeah, you're right.
There could be a lot worse stuff in there. So
apparently he has fought these things before in Baron Zemo's castle back in 276. And he feels sorry for himself. He says, I feel bad about, having to use all this, being so rough with these guys, but they have the strength augmentation, which makes them like 10 times stronger than me. And the strength augmentation made them go crazy. So they can't be reasoned with. And as he's thinking this, he's backhanding like a tennis player, his shield into this guy's face, and chunks of teeth are flying out. So I love that, Cap is a very measured, kind man, but he knows when he has to do something, it has to be done. It's the last resort. They're 10 times stronger than he is, like I was saying. So, it is overwhelmed by them. So he is just full out brawling with them.
I think that we can safely say, having read enough Grunwald issues that he wrote with multiple artists, like, I really feel like Grunwald really orchestrates the action that we love. I feel like it's really specifically written down.
Yeah.
Because there's a tone and there's a symmetry that kind of runs through a lot of these issues of how Cap fights and how he acts. And so, yeah, I think that's all Grunwald. And I feel like that's maybe one of the secret ingredients of why his comics are so fucking good.
There's a very specific physicality to the way that's specific to Cap's strengths and the way he fights that is across artists. So I think it is Grunwald.
Yeah. And I don't know, it seems like, I mean, I've read lots of different Cap stuff, and I honestly think that the physicality of Cap in these issues in the Grunwald 80s run, I feel like the only other thing I can compare it to is like the Golden Age run of Cap, where he was so flexible and strong and just did, I don't know, it really reminds me of Simon and Kirby, which I would think Grunwald being having such an encyclopedic knowledge of comics, specifically Marvel comics. I can't imagine that's a coincidence.
When did Grunwald die? Was that the early 2000s? Late 80s?
I don't know.
Late 90s, I mean?
Yeah, I think it was somewhere in the 90s. Like,
it was a heart attack? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Before?
It was a heart attack. Not it was from a congenital defect.
It was a heart. Okay. That's a shame.
Yeah, it's crazy. So he died at 42.
Okay. Probably the same thing that like John Ritter had and my dad had, which was like if it had been detected, it could have been fixed, but it was just a ticking time bomb essentially of genetic stuff. not something from being unhealthy or anything like that. It seemed just more like exactly. So on the next page, we see so Dr. Carl Malus is back. I'm glad that we got to I still say Malice.
Malice.
I think it's gotta be Malice.
You're right, it is. Dr. Carl Malice has been a part of the last few issues of Cap. I've gone back. Did you read any before this?
No.
I read a couple before this. And so Malice has been back for a while. And here we see him sneak away from Steve, and he kind of thinks to himself like, oh dear, I knew we should have destroyed these failures instead of letting them loose. And that's the mutates. So we realize, especially from the last few issues as well, that these are people that Dr. Malice himself has mutated, and these are the failures, or Dr. Malice and the Power Broker.
Right.
But and so these are the failures. So Dr. Malice knows very well what is going on. And he's like, we should have destroyed them. But they let me sneak away from Captain America, so that's good. So he's really excited. He's escaping through a pipe, and then hears this deep howl. He's like, what is that? And he's like, the failed augments never made sounds like that. It came from behind me. So he just fucking takes off, which I was kind of proud of. I'm just like, just run as fast as you can, Looney Tunes style, out of there.
Well, it's funny the way that he is drawn here. He looks like McFarlane's Bruce Banner.
He does, right? Isn't that weird? It's the haircut and the glasses.
It's the glasses, I think, more than anything else. Or he looks like Banner meets John Lennon in that upper right-hand panel.
He does.
We were just four guys.
Yeah. Riding on a bus.
I kind of missed Malice. I don't know if that his Spider-Woman appearance was the first one, but I think it was.
It was. Yeah,
okay.
He
made Hornet.
Yeah.
So I just love this, mad scientist crap. He's even got like the evil dentist button-up lab coat. The
buttons on the side.
Yes.
Like it's a uniform or something.
Yes.
That's what differentiates the mad scientist.
Exactly.
The scientists, they have the buttons that go down the middle, like sane people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the onomatopoeic lettering here, like the thok when Cap punches that guy, and the werewolf's howl. Just beautiful, just big, bold, yellow letters. So on the next page, I actually had a note. I didn't realize I had a note in here about McFarlane again. On this top row, there's three little panels. We see the werewolf's howl reach across three square panels as Malice is running away. He thinks it's getting louder. Are those footfalls behind me or just my own echoes? Oh, sweet savior, I don't want to. And as he's getting closer, we're pushing in on him as he's running down the sewers, running away. And my note is he looks like McFarlane trying to draw like Robert Crumb.
That's a draw the actual Robert Crumb.
Yes.
Yeah, not like Robert Crumb, but yeah, that's pretty accurate. I'm gonna have to tell you, that's pretty good.
So in the middle row here, he runs smack literally into the werewolf. He says, I don't want to die, as he smashes into the werewolf. And this werewolf looks like the werewolf we've seen in West Coast Avengers 5 and in the Iron Man issue. So we get him looming, like looks like he's about 8 feet tall, bearing down on Malice as Malice goes, whatever that is, BWAAAH.
That's a weird one. That seemed much more, I don't know, much more Three Stooges than I expected.
And the werewolf growls, and he still has those big swooping things. Okay, they start his eyebrows and go out like 2 feet from his head. And my note was just like, is the 80s werewolf, are they consciously trying to make him look like Wolverine, Sabretooth, Wendigo? Like, are they trying to make him slowly switch into a big bad, like wild entity?
I don't know. I don't understand this art choice. I actually feel like this depiction is better than West Coast Avengers. West Coast Avengers, it wasn't, you couldn't even see hair. Like it was almost like he was a lizard or something. Like it was
he had to wear a lizard.
Yeah, but with this one, you can actually at least see hair. I feel like he's, half Sabretooth, half, a werewolf from The Howling. So it's, it's weird. I actually had many times in my notes that this was a slight improvement.
It is, actually. So on the bottom of the page, we just get some more awesome Cap action as he's thinking to himself about how, these are failed augments. The successful ones are pretty strong. He's been fighting them a lot. So as you said, Jacob, the last couple of issues, great move in this last panel as he jumps up with one hand, grabs the pipes above him in the sewer and spreads his legs and then lets one guy dive into a brick wall ostensibly.
Seriously, those last two panels, the positions that Cap is in is 100% Simon and Kirby. It couldn't be more Simon and Kirby.
I need to read more of the Golden Age Cap.
I mean, it's stupid.
But
it's
just for the art.
Awesome. Yeah,
mostly for the art.
No, and the art is cool, and that was what was cool about Cap in the Golden Age is that he, because Simon and Kirby are trailblazers at every step of the way. Cap breaks the gutters. His action spills over into other panels. He's very stretched and flexible and this unique kind of Simon and Kirby cartoon.
Like in the 40s.
Yeah.
Did who is that, like Winsor McKay or is that Eisner? Like who was the first kind of panel buster?
Well, I mean, it's got to be Winsor McKay. I mean, he did that all throughout Little Nemo and even, Dreams of a Rare Bit Fiend. I don't know. It's so funny. Like whenever I go back, I love Winsor McKay, as I'm sure you do. And my wife, Alicia, has a lot of beautiful, giant hardcover collections of Little Nemo and Slumberland. And I go back and read one story and I'm just like, well, I guess this was just the pinnacle of comics. And it's just been going downhill ever since. Like, I think an account that both of us follow, Comics in the Golden Age, on Instagram, they've done that a few times in the last couple of months. Post a Winsor McKay thing that it just explodes my fucking mind.
Yeah,
and you think about that he hand drew, that he also was a pioneer in animation and fucking hand drew like probably about 36,000 little drawings of Gertie the dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's just, sorry for the aside, but Winsor McKay is, between Winsor McKay and Will Eisner, all the shit was already done by the time that the Marvel Age started. Like they did everything.
Don't apologize for asides.
No. Okay.
I refuse. Some people like going to school a little bit.
That's all right. I'm okay with that.
Me too.
See, on the next page, Cap hears Malice scream and dives under the water, trying to get away from the pack of mutates. But when he comes up for air, he realizes there's actually two packs. and that he's surrounded. So I loved the again, I feel like the mutates, especially in that 6th and 7th panel, definitely have Plug. Like the musculature. It just reminds you of a lot of the brutes that Plug would draw in the early Werewolf by Night issues.
Can I tell you the one that he's specifically referencing that we're not realizing until just now? Mm-hmm. It's that Craig story that when they put all the failed freaks in the basement, and then the werewolf unleashes them, and they all get to turn on their on the doctor. That's what this is. That's what this is echoing. I would have to think so, because you're right. I mean, now that I look at it, it's got to be a direct reference. Yeah, because we waxed orgasmic over that sequence in the original comic. Oh,
man, that issue is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love this page again. You just kind of glossed over it. It doesn't need much, but I mean, I love, like, in that second panel, just the fact that it's so funny. The Cap that people know who watch the movies, his being on ice was such a bigger thing, and when the Avengers happened, because it was how many years? 50 years or 60 years. But at the time, he went on ice at the end of the World War II and was released in 64. Like, it's like 20 years tops, and he was a man out of time. Like,
yep.
You can barely tell the difference. There's drums, like there's snare drums in the music and longer hair, but like still there's this little cute stuff. Like, he says, I've got to get away from these fellows. Like, oh, that's cute. And like you said, this predicament where he dives down into the sewer water, he's thinking how disgusting it is. He's swimming as hard as he can for 90 seconds. He pops up, there's another thing of them, and he's like, oh God. Then he turns on and realizes, holy shit, there's multiple groups.
Yeah.
Funny jam.
Yeah, they're all converging on him. It's not good.
Yeah. And then we get this great entrance, the first appearance of the Night Shift as a team. Says just then. And then they swoop in. The two brothers Grimm are flying on their weird cloud constructs they have. And Tatterdemalion's behind one brother, and the Needle's behind another. And Gypsy Moth is flying above. And they swarm in saying, Night Shift, attack! Gypsy's kind of the secondary leader after the Shroud, it seems like, which makes sense.
Well, she's one of the only other sane people on this team. Like, I don't know if I would leave the strategy up to the brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
They're too busy quipping and punning their way through fights. And the Needle's just a psychopath.
Yes, he is. And Tatterdemalion is just trying to find money to burn.
Yeah, that's all he wants. So it's a natural fit that Gypsy Moth is the number 2 leader.
Yeah. So they're swarming in this great panel, shooting towards us up through the sewers. Below them is a group of mutates, and Cap's just, overwhelmed by this visual, like, what in the... And so they start doing their thing, like the brothers Grimm are so dorky. They quip and they do all these weird nursery rhyme things, obviously. So they say, hey, it's time to do a little monster mash. And like Cap's looking, I'm like, what the hell? This is not West Coast Avengers, I swear. Tony's not in here, He's just like, and so he's just agog at these things swarming in. And then one of the brothers Grimm swoops in on a mutate and says, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie, an acid meringue pie, that is. And he throws a pie into a mutate's face as Needle jumps down from the cloud and has this giant sewing needle, which is like a spear. Yeah, he's insane. God, I love this.
Yeah, this team is so great. I love the Cap. He probably has West Coast Avengers on the mind because he sees this weird team. Yeah. And he's like, this looks like some fucked up B team. Like, no, it's not the West Coast Avengers.
Here comes the cavalry.
Yeah, it is. So that was obviously his first thought, was just like, oh, fuck, Hawkeye's here. But nope, it's just a bunch of psychopaths instead. So yeah, on the next page, one of the brothers says, make way for the Humpties, young masters of egg foo. And yeah, Gypsy Moth obviously has just had enough of this shit. She's like, Grimm, can't you do anything without making inane banter? And then she says, what, you saying, Moth Lady? You don't like my bad yolks? Oh, man.
They're throwing trick eggs, like Green Arrow has trick arrows.
Yes.
So they explode and do weird things.
So is it weird, like the mutate that's getting hit in the eye with eggs? You'd think he'd be like, yar, grar, but he says greer, which is so weird. Oh, man. So yeah, Cap is just kind of standing on the sidelines being like, who the fuck are these weirdos? He looks at Gypsy and he says, that flying woman seems to be animating that cable. He says, can't figure out why these oddballs are fighting the augments. And I like that he says, maybe they're the guardian angels of LA sewers. I liked that. Cap doesn't know LA. This is all foreign to him.
Yeah.
He's a New York boy. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And then, yeah, Tatterdemalion is saying, these tunnels belong to Tatterdemalion, you squatters.
Which I thought he was all about.
Yeah, I know, right? He should be trying to recruit these guys.
Yeah. Like society has turned their back on you.
Yeah, he's like, I got some soup for you. Come follow me. And yeah, one of the brothers Grimm conjures up a beanstalk. Beanstalk, you listen? Oh man, that was a long way to go for a pun. I didn't
get it the first time.
I didn't either.
Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Beanstalk, you listen.
God,
Jesus
so
Christ.
fucking terrible. And then Cap is he's just turned around. He's just like, well, they don't seem to care one way or another about me. I'm going to go find Malice. So he just leaves them there. He's just like, these guys are a lot. I don't know if I want to deal with them.
And they are. That last panel is so weird where Tatterdemalian's punching a mutate and he looks like he's just like lost all of his bones. But
he has great hair.
Yeah, his hair is fabulous, but I still don't know what the hell is going on. And then the background, Needle's doing his thing. I forgot what Needle's power is. But he has these eye beams that I don't know. I read them in that Spider-Woman issue, which was awesome, but I don't remember what it was. So he continues doing his thing, and Brothers Grimm says, "Hey," or one of the brothers says, "Good going, Needle." Needles to say, "That's the last of them."
Oh,
yes,
God.
These puns keep going on. So Gypsy Moth notices that Cap's left, and they're like, she says, "The man in blue, he's gone." We forget she has some type of European accent. And but one of the Brothers Grimm's like, "Didn't you recognize him, Gypsy baby? That was Captain America. Guess he didn't make the news much of the commie country you come from."
Damn, I didn't expect that from the Brothers Grimm. No. Don't they come from around the same part? At least the actual Brothers Grimm.
Yes, the actual ones. So I can't remember what happened, because if you recall, I did kind of a verbal catch up on some of the Spider-Woman stuff. Those guys were actually not real. They were much like Scarlet Witch's children. The woman was lost her mind and made two mannequins and animated them through magic. So I don't know who these guys are. Those Brothers Grimm 3 and 4, I guess.
Technically, I think you're right.
Yeah. So Cap is making his way out of the sewers, and he hears growling, and he's like, "Oh, what is it I'm hearing? The growl of a dog?" And then it continues, and then we get the werewolf leaping towards him, and he says, "Oh, Wolfman!" And I realized, oh, that's right. This is the first time they've met. Yeah.
So this version of the Wolfman hits Cap, and it's actually a great panel. I don't quite get it, but I mean, I kind of like the musculature of this. I like how he hits Cap's shield. I think it's actually a pretty strong panel.
I like those big sharp nails make a tank in the vibranium.
that is nice. So yeah, but Cap kind of not easily, but he deflects the beast with a shield and flips Jack into a wall, knocking him out.
How?
Right? Oh, I think that would be considered judo.
I missed that in my notes.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
We take a drink every time there's judo in a Werewolf by Night book.
That's right. I forget. So if anyone hasn't realized yet, I don't know. I think in the Michael episodes, we did our drinking rules a little bit, but one of the classic drinking rules from our season 1 was, whenever a character uses judo, we drink, because guess what? They did it a lot in the 70s. So yeah, Cap turns around only to find the rest of the night shift waiting for him. So we have the Shroud, Danson Macabre, we have TikTok, Digger, as well as Dr. Malice. I think that's all of them. So yeah,
but Malice isn't in this group regularly, right?
He's not.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
just saved him because they didn't realize he was a monster.
They saved him. They didn't realize he was a bad guy, even though, Shroud is kind of running a con, which he will explain.
Yeah, this gets very complicated.
It really does. So the Shroud says, first we have TikTok, which was nice to see. Last time we saw him was his debut in Spider-Woman 50. And so TikTok's like, you see, Mr. Shroud, Captain America, just as I foresaw. And we realize that that is his annoying power, is knowing what's going to happen in the next, like,
60 seconds.
60 seconds, I think. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And then Shroud's like, I never doubted you, TikTok. And he's like, stand back, I'll handle him. And I like TikTok gets a little thought joke in. He's like, I knew he was going to say that.
I love that so much.
It was kind of funny. It made me laugh. He's like, then Shroud says, Danson, see to the werewolf. And he looks pretty brutal. Like, we've seen the Shroud, and the Shroud can be pretty brutal. And he's a cool character.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of, if you haven't seen him, he's kind of a melange of the Shadow, Moon Knight, Batman.
He's everything.
He's shrouded, he's hooded, he's scary. His eyes are covered, so he seems like he's operating blind, like Daredevil. Like he's and he has like cloaks kind of powers, essentially, of darkness. I always thought he was super cool and terribly underused in the Marvel universe, in my opinion. So we need to mention Digger, because I don't know when Digger got ushered into the MC or the MU proper, but he was a host of a horror book in the 70s. So he was like the crypt keeper of a Marvel book that probably reprinted Atlas era horror, I would think. I don't know. Do you know? Wasn't it Crypt of Shadows, actually, that he hosted?
I think it is. I thought it was Crypt of Shadows. And yeah, I think, well, all of those books definitely from their birth were kind of a combination. Sometimes they were just all Atlas era reprints.
Sometimes there's one or two new stories.
And sometimes there's one or two new stories. A lot of times the cool thing about those early 70s reprint books is that the one new story would be a really classic, like artist, like someone from the Atlas era, teamed up with a really young, hot new writer,
22 years old,
basically someone that just took ayahuasca and is which and whenever you and I have run across those stories, they're always really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's a reason to pick up those old reprint books, just because there's cool shit in them.
Yeah, and sometimes it was the inverse, where it's like Roy or somebody kind of sleepwalking through a story, but you have some Filipino kid or something like that drawing it.
Yep.
It was always something interesting about it, though, when there was a new one.
Well, that's the thing, and that's the shit that you and I like, Matt. That's what we're building our entire themes around, is that in the 70s, on the books that weren't your fucking superhero books, that weren't your A tier, cool shit was happening in the shadows, on the edges of the Marvel universe. And that's where interesting stuff happened. Story, art, that was where the experiments happened.
Yeah. I just want to mention, before we get that nice big shot of the Shroud standing over Cap, Cap's looking around and says, wow, from here on, nothing's going to make me raise an eyebrow. Like, dude, you fought MODOK. You have, like, I can't even live. You've been to space how many times? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, MODOK, it's a giant head the size of a fucking Barco lounger chair. Like,
yeah, no, I mean,
shit than this.
Cap's been to hell. There were those two issues. If you don't know, in the Golden Age, there were about 2 issues when the superheroes were dying out and horror books were coming in. And there were 2 issues that were like
about those
weird Captain America stories, and they were trying to make Cap into a horror book almost. And there's one that has this amazing cover of Cap like in hell, and there's this guy like looming over with his hair becoming fire and demons. And yeah, so Cap's seen a lot of crazy shit. This is not the craziest shit he's ever seen by far.
Guys with skull masks floating on fake clouds?
Yeah, no way.
That, by the way, in that panel I just read the thought balloon from, that is like the most beautiful, like John Buscema / like John Romita Cap, like 70s throwback face I've seen in years.
Yeah. I don't know. I see a lot of vintage style in Tom Morgan. Yep. I really do. Like from the 70s.
Man, once you said Plug, I can't not see it now.
No, me too. Like, I honestly think this guy was, this guy had to have been a Plug disciple in a lot of ways.
So this is on Unlimited, right? So we're not cutting anybody out here this episode.
Nope, this is absolutely on Unlimited.
Awesome. So just to describe Digger, for those of you that don't have the issue in front of you, he's essentially a Frankenstein monster. He has a shovel, but he looks like a Haight Ashbury Frankenstein monster. Like he's tall and lanky, like Mick Jagger. He looks like he has like a. Am I crazy?
No, this is Plug's design from the Frankenstein monster. Totally. He has the vest, the furry vest, which is a total Plug invention. Frankenstein's monster has never worn a fucking David Crosby like furry vest,
like biker vest.
Yeah. So no, again, this is taking Plug. This is taking cues from Plug all over the place,
and I love it. So I don't even have any notes for this page because it's just so weird. The Shroud uses his power and says, "Let darkness reign," and this blackness comes out from under his cape, and the rest of the night shift crew is like, "Okay, well, it bugs me when the boss does that. He'll be out within the next 10 seconds," says TikTok. Or no, he will not emerge within the next 10 seconds.
He will not emerge.
So he knows for sure that's not happening. And then they go inside the darkness, and Cap's like, "What's the story here, Shroud?" He's like, "God, I can't see anything." And so Shroud explains, "Remember the last time you saw me? I was in the hospital. I was recovering from an overdose of the Red Skull's nerve gas." We find out this is all from Supervillain Team Up 12, which was the Shroud's first appearance, I believe. It was like a 3 or 4 part story in Supervillain Team Up. And so he says, "Remember when I was recovering in the hospital room and you were visiting me, and I told you if I survive and I come back, I'm going to fight crime from within crime. I'm going to lead a criminal organization and bring down crime with them unwittingly aiding me." He's like, "That's what I'm doing right now." He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, what brings you down the sewers of LA?" He's like, "Well, these are kind of our highways and byways. This is how we move around, but the mutates are making this pretty difficult." He's like, "All right, well, if we can get to that mousy scientist to talk to me, explain how these mutates are happening, and I can get to the power broker, I can stop more of this happening, more of this suffering, more of this human whatever." And so he's like, "Hey, getting someone to talk, no problem." And then Cap's, squareness comes in. He's like, "Whoa, I will not permit undue force." He's like, no. Dancer Macabre, she can employ something that will take care of that. And then he's like, "Okay, Cap, here's the deal. The only way these guys are going to trust you, and the only way I can keep my cred as a criminal leader of this enterprise, is you have to let me beat you in combat, pretend, in front of these guys." He's like, "Huh. All right. And what's the second part of this plan?" Not super stoked.
He's not super stoked, but he takes it pretty well.
Yes, he does.
Because Cap's a team player. No, you're right. This is a cool page, but yeah, it's mostly exposition. Yeah. Like the art is cool, but yeah, a lot is explained in that.
I do want to say, I love the way that the artist did that profile into the Shroud's cowl into the flashback. That was such a cool way to build a panel.
It's cool, right?
God, that's cool.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. So the next page, the Shroud continues laying out his plan, being like, "Okay, I'm gonna let Danson perform her devotion dance to bind your will to hers." But he's like, "You just trust me on this. Don't worry. I'll make sure it doesn't affect you." And Cap's like, "All right, I guess I'm going to go along with this. I don't completely trust this guy, but I'm going to see what happens." And so, yeah, they put their plan into action. Shroud acts like he beat Cap and has Dancer Macabre do her thing. But I actually thought this was a cool touch. So what Shroud does is he projects his blackness just onto like the irises, or just onto Cap's eyes. Yeah, for his retinas. And it's so cool like that. Like no one is going to know that he does that, but it keeps Cap from being hypnotized. Another Grunwald cool little touch. Like this is what's so cool about writers that really think about this stuff and really add such a, I don't know. It seemed Grunwald's stuff is so thought through. Mm-hmm. Like he obviously just is going through every single minute detail that's happening in the actual scene. And, we didn't get that from as many 80s writers as Mark did. So it's a pleasure to read his writing.
Yeah, it is. So they're playing their parts now. Cap is pretending like he's under the Shroud's sway. And he makes Cap swear never to hurt anyone in the night shift and to follow his orders. And then he says, "Danson, I have reason to believe that this character," pointing to Malice, "has something to do with our derelict problem. Bind him as well." And so she puts the whammy on Dr. Malice, and he starts just coughing up, "My name is Carl Malice. Monsters are failed augments." So he's totally in their sway. And he explains that the bodies rejected the strength that the power broker was giving to them. So they're just failed experiments and they're just dumping them off. And Shroud's like, Cap, does this make any sense to you? He's like, yeah, I know what he's talking about. I get all this. He's like, so do you know where the power broker is? Yes. Can you take us to him? Yes. So they start dashing off in this cool panel of them just like, I love this shit when they're like running towards us, the viewer, just, 45-degree angle dash, very like Neil Adams-y kind of thing. And he's like, okay, we'll deliver the mutates to the Tower of Shadows first, which I didn't know anything about the Tower of Shadows. That must be Grunwald just making something up right there.
He's just making shit up, and it's cool shit, and I think it becomes canon.
Okay. And he's like, and then we'll pay a call to this power broker person. Come on, people, let's move. And he dashes off. Cap's following with Dance Macabre and everybody else. And Cap's thinking to himself, I can't say I'm very proud of myself. We may have gotten information out of Malice without force, but we had to deny him his free will to do so. One more thing on my conscience.
Man.
So, yeah, straight arrow, Cap. I mean, I'm a Boy Scout, and I'm more of a rule follower than Cap is most times. But this is like, dude, come on. He's taking people, experimenting on them, turning them into mindless beasts, and then just throwing them out like trash. Like, one bad dude's will being compromised is not. There's no comparable weight there.
I don't think so, no. But yeah, this gets into Cap's Boy Scout nature for sure. So the next, so the next page, the opening narration reads, sunrise is still 2 hours away when 3 hearses drive up to the gates of an estate somewhere in the San Fernando Valley. So does the night shift really just ride around in custom hearses?
Yes.
Like they're the Groovy Ghoulies or something?
Yes, I do remember this from later appearances, yes.
That is fucking rad.
I mean, honestly, the Shroud's been around a while, like probably 10 years at this point in Marvel time, but not used hardly at all.
At all.
And these characters are all cast-offs from who? Grunwald's Spider-Woman run?
Yeah.
Are they all from that?
Are they?
Except for the werewolf?
Well, I think the Brothers Grimm were earlier, right? They weren't Grunwald. But everything
he might
else...
have invented them, but he's the one that made them, like in that horror run, like in the 12, 13, or 14 of Spider-Woman. That's when like they were we used the most and then exposed.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, I know a little about the Night Shift, but from what we're reading in their first appearance as a team, it seems like Grunwald is just putting together a bunch of characters that he loves and that he did cool shit with.
Yeah.
He created the Needle.
Is the first issue he wrote of Spider-Woman when we took over the title. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, I mean,
it was Wolfman and then him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he just took a bunch of stuff where it's like, these didn't take off. Nobody liked them. I'll just find a way to use them in a new, cool way. And he fucking did. I think the Night Shift's a bizarre, fascinating idea.
Yeah, it's a cool team for sure. So I did like that we get Cap
like Thunderbolts, by the way.
Yeah.
15
as criminals
years.
Being tricked into doing good shit.
Years.
Yeah.
10 years, I guess.
10 years for sure.
12 years.
Yeah, that third or that second technically panel really cracked me up because Cap seems very human in this issue. Like he's fighting the mutates, which are 10 times stronger than his augmented strength. He's been up for 24 hours, he says, and he's yawning. He's just like, fuck, man, I'm old. I'm tired. Like, I've been up for 24 hours. I can't do all these kids. They still have all their energy. And so, yeah, they get there and... yeah, Shroud is like, Grim 1, Needle, take out the guard. Move, every second is critical. And so then Grim 1 materializes like a cute star trapeze bar.
Yep.
And they fly off. And I like Cap's like, how did he do that? Shroud's like, he claims it's magic. Like, you can tell his tone on that. Like, he's just like, I don't fucking care. He claims it's magic, but it gets the job done. So who gives a shit? And so, yeah, they go and... immobilize the guard. Needle fires his rays into people's eyes. Like, does he only shoot people's eyes because of he's the Needle and that's fucking terrifying?
I don't know what his eye beam does. I can't remember from his one appearance, like literally one appearance.
Yeah,
the second appearance was on the cover of Spider-Woman 50, and then
that's right.
Like,
I can't remember, was he the one that was like played by Ralph Macchio?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that's so awesome.
So the next page, this top panel is this beautiful charge, scene like you see in a war movie of them just all dashing in. It's amazing. And Shroud says, "Let's go. TikTok, keep me posted." TikTok has a stopwatch out. He's like, "Trouble in 10 seconds, Shroud. No way to avoid it." And so they're dragging. Cap has Malice's arm sleeve in his hand, gloved, gauntleted hand, just dragging him along as he's, dragging feet. And he's like, "Who? How many?" Referring to how much trouble, how many guards. He's like, "3 of them. I don't." And Cap's like, "Yeah, odds are there's, these strength augmented guys, Power Broker, like we're all fucked, by the way. Like this is going to be hard no matter what we do." And sure enough, some goons come in nice black suits, like, "Captain America, who the heck are the others?" And Cap says, "Let the night shift have these." Or no, Shroud says, "Let the night shift have these guys, Captain." And so we get this nice panel on the bottom where Jack, as the wolf, is leaping in and grabbing this guy by the throat. One of the brothers Grimm is throwing more eggs.
That's a real dichotomy of attack mode there. The werewolf is basically going to decapitate some guy. Yeah. And one of the brothers is throwing eggs.
Esophagus, a dectomy, and and trick egg.
Yeah, what a cool first panel, man.
I mean,
that's so good. Like, Tom Morgan's killing it this issue. He really is. Like, I am loving this art.
Yeah, there was we missed a back. I had to know also that how cool the Tatterdemalion looked in one of those sewer panels. Like he made him look like Eastwood in like a spaghetti western.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Just the art's amazing.
So the night shift fight on the next page with the guards. But what happens? One of the guards or goons grabs a hold of Jack and says, "Let's see you do your wolf routine after I pry this mask off your puss." Oh, that's one of our oldest drinking rules. Mm-hmm. When someone thinks that the werewolf is wearing a mask, I'm going to double drink to that.
Yeah, I'm going to do another one. And the werewolf's ear thing seems especially like fish fins or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, kind of like Sienkiewicz's Wolfsbane in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
really.
Good call.
Like, yeah. And so I did like, but before Jack can kind of maul this dumbass, Needle throws one of his, needles right into the guy's back and what looks like through his heart. So that guy's dead, right?
I think that guy's dead. I don't think they want to explicitly show it, but that seems like a kill move.
Yeah,
it's definitely a lung, if not the heart.
Yeah, no, he's totally dead. So TikTok says there are more men inside. So Shroud has an idea, which he says, "I have an idea. Join hands."
Question about this page before we move on. Do we think that Jack is driving the car right now? Is he a beast or is he Jack? Because he's not talking.
He's not talking, but he's not trying to eat his teammates. So I would assume that Jack is probably driving.
I think that they were trying to slowly slide him back into being like a middle ground where it's like he can control the change, but he's kind of out of control when he's the beast. Yeah. Because it gives it more gas. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it totally does. Because he's a fucking werewolf. You can't control werewolves.
Yeah. Rule
number 1.
Yeah. It's only so fun to have him talk and smile weirdly as a werewolf. We're like, all right, let's go back to the wild shit. I do like that.
I was going to say, like in Marcosa House. That's all I can think of is that shit-eating grin that the werewolf had in Marcosa House.
He was like, hey, guys.
Hey, guys, what's up?
That first panel on this page also, when he's attacking that dude that the needle kills in a second, he's just, I mean, this is why I asked, was like, there's just shreds of black suit in his claws. Like, he's just eviscerating that dude, apparently. And somehow the guy does some kind of a wrestling move and gets behind him and grabs him around the throat. Anyway. This plan that Shroud has is kind of strange. It took me a couple reads to kind of get what he's doing.
Yeah.
The goon's like, okay, they're in. Blah, blah, got to protect the boss's property. And Shroud's like, yeah, heaven forbid we ruin your stuff. And this blackness starts leaching out from under his cape. And this is why he said, hold hands. So they're all holding hands, making a human chain. Shroud is leading it. He's climbing up the stairs, and you can see the blackness emanating out from everyone. So the chain connects the power. So the blackness emanates out from everyone holding the Shroud's hand. And one of the goons is like, hey, the lights. And they say, steady, Malice, keep climbing. And then I couldn't tell as well what happened. I think the Shroud kicked the goon that said, hey, the lights. and he goes flying over out of the blackness down into a giant weird German penis sculpture. Kong.
Schlong.
And then the Shroud's fist comes out of a black cloud and punches another goon in the face. And he's saying, all right, TikTok, we're in the clear. Which way to go now? Because he's prescient. He can tell 60 seconds ahead what's going to happen. He's like, I don't know, sir. The man we're looking for is more than 10 seconds. Shit, that's not much at all.
It?
More than 10 seconds away from any direction I can see. And he's like, wait, he's here. You must be quick. His bed. And we hear, allow me.
So I couldn't figure out. It's one of the two. So either Shroud is using his blackness as a chain that flows through everybody, or he's just having everybody join hands so they don't get lost in the blackness that he's projecting.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I couldn't decide because I thought my first thought was what you said, that he's somehow creating like an electricity chain.
I thought it was like a bioelectricity extension of his power, but no, I guess not getting lost in the literal blackness is probably what it is.
Yeah, I mean, both,
because they can't even see each other. You can't see your hand in front of your face.
No, you can't see anything.
No.
So
that's why he runs into that dude and kicks him off the stairs. Probably.
That's what I thought. But I think either way works. So on the next page, we get an amazing first panel of Cap just bursting through the wall. Just look, I don't know. There's so many panels in this that could just be taken out of context as like, this is classic Captain America. Like, this is a classic pose. This is a classic move that he does. And this one especially, he busts into the bedroom and finds the power broker in bed with fancy pajamas on. I liked his pajamas. And I kind of wish he had one of those, I don't know, those like tall pointed sleeping caps that like Mr. Burns wears or something. But he has a plan. So he hits his alarm clock next to his bed, says, "No, not him." And the bed starts sinking into the floor, all like escape hatch. And Cap jumps down there. And the ceiling kind of closes in over the bed before the rest of the night shift can get there. And so Cap's just riding down as this bed is descending into some underground lair. And Cap recognizes this guy. He's like, "You're Curtis Jackson, who you fought the Hulk and Cap." Like, I think it's way back in issue 230, I think is when this happened. But now he realizes, that he's reinvented himself as the power broker.
So if you recall, when we were doing the Urge to Scourge, when we were talking about Blue Streak, I mentioned that the corporation had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and Blue Streak was posing as a hero hired by S.H.I.E.L.D. This is all that same stuff. It's all tied together, man. Man,
Grunwald, gotta tell you.
Yeah.
So Cap wants to, they get down to some very huge escape corridor, giant tunnel that looks like it should have some kind of tram or something, which it does. And so Cap just wants to know where D-Man is. And Curtis is like, "You must mean Dennis Dunphy, the wrestler. Don't do anything rash. I'll take you to him, I promise." And I like, as they're riding away, Cap has his arm kind of out, ready to punch the power broker. But he's like, "I almost forgot about you. I assumed you'd be behind bars." And he's like, "I have very good lawyers." Which I'm sure just, enrages Cap. So he says, "You try anything foolish, and I hope you have equally good doctors." Cap doesn't like people getting off because of fancy lawyers.
And that panel before that one, Cap's thinking to himself, looking at, like you're saying, this opulent underground transit system. He's like, what a setup! His own private subway. Amazing what these crime lords will waste their wealth on. I forgot to mention a couple of pages back, when they first charge in, they're kicking ass, and the werewolf is fighting that guy. Gypsy Moth says, "Your clothes belong to the Gypsy Moth."
Yeah.
I was like, is that her catchpantsing now?
It's like a great one.
The guy's pants are falling down around his ankles.
Is her power just pantsing people at this point?
Well, she can control fibers, so she can.
Yeah. I mean, I know she can. I just didn't know that was the go-to move.
Well, yeah. Maybe in that commie country she's from.
Commie country.
Oh, dear. So he grabs Power Broker by the collar. He's in his jammies still. And he's like, "It's still a bit early. I doubt my staff is in yet." And he's like, Cap's pushing him through, and he's like, come on, it's this way. And then he sees in this glassed in case D-Man and a female character, a superhero looking character, and they're kind of spread out, with their legs, arms in clamps, like in this metal machinery. And Cap says, D-Man and some woman, what are you doing to them? Like, don't tell me you don't know. This is your private facility, not one of your commercial power labs. Like, well, in one chamber, we're trying to determine the maximum amount of augmentation a subject can withstand. In chamber 2, which I presume is a woman, we're trying to determine if the augmentation can be reversed. It's like, Jackson, you'd better hope these people aren't harmed. So Cap's getting on his high horse here a little bit.
Yep. And
he's like, release them both now. And it's like, I can't do that, Captain. The truth this time, I don't know how to. He's like shoving him by the neck. And he's like, Cap says, fuck it, and goes to controls himself. So starts switching stuff and moving controls around. He's like, it's probably best I don't let you handle the hardware anyway, Jackson. Now let's see. You should cut the radiation lamps. And then it says, finally. So Cap apparently figures out all this very complex stuff. Just a kid from the Bronx or wherever the fuck he's from. And he's like, opens the door into that area. And he's like, Dennis? He says he's still grimacing in pain.
So that woman is, like the Cap says, and some woman. And that woman is Sharon Ventura, who was part of the Lady Grapplers.
Oh.
And she went by the name, her wrestling name, just like Titania was a name and not the actual Titania character. This woman seems to be just a wrestler who went for a while by Miss Marvel. Okay. Very confusing.
That's what I thought her name was. I didn't want to say it because I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah, but it's not any of the other, Miss Marvel or Captain Marvels that we knew throughout the 80s, which there are a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Carol. And
Photon.
There's a couple. So but yeah, this is basically just like Titania, just a different character. A wrestler, a member of the Lady Grapplers that we saw in that issue of The Thing that we talked about on our bonus show. And yeah, so she it goes by Miss Marvel, and she had some of the augmentation done to her before, just like D-Man had done.
She's around this book for a little bit, right? Like, didn't Grunwald kind of keep around, like with Nomad, and like when Cap left and John took over as the Captain America?
I think so, because I remembered her. Like,
yeah, I totally saw her. I was like, oh, I remember her.
Yeah, that's what I had the same reaction. So I do think that she sticks around for a while. So we realize Dr. Malice administers a stimulant to D-Man, which causes him to fly into a rage, attacking Cap. Malice says, I administered the stimulant to Subject D. The captain will not leave the room alive, I'd wager. Good thing we came down here to hide when the alarm went off, Maggie? Maggie's is tending to the power broker, saying, stop patting yourself on the back and help me revive Mr. Jackson. And then, we just see Cap basically just dodging for his life as this, like you say, Bane augmented buddy of his is trying to smash his head into a pulp.
Do we know who this Maggie person is? I swear I know her from like Hulk.
I know. Like, it sounds familiar, she work
right? With the Hulkbusters or something?
I know. I had that thing too. I should have looked her up, but yeah, I had the same thought. Like, I'm just like, I think we know this person.
Okay.
You're not crazy.
Okay. So yeah, Cap's just trying his very measured best to stay away from Dennis and not get hurt because he's like a small Hulk. And he's like, D-Man, look at me. I'm your friend. Calm down. But he's just in a frenzy. He's like, he seems more like the Hulk than the easygoing guy I knew. And he's just punching and smashing equipment. And Cap's ducking and shucking and jiving. He's like, he may be just as strong as the Hulk too. And then he manages to hit Cap, but Cap throws his shield up first and it sends Cap flying into the wall. So he's strong as fuck. And he manages to just duck as a fist goes into a steel wall. He's like, come on, pal. We're buddies. You don't want to hurt me. He's like, he's shredding the lab equipment as though it were cardboard. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he is. And there's a lot of great fight panels in this. I love I just kind of love the choreography that Grunwald obviously spends a lot of time thinking about.
Yep.
And it really shows on this page and on the next page. So Cap's decided that he realizes he must have been given some stimulant, and he wants to kind of work him out to get him to metabolize it out of his system. So yeah, he's just dodging as much as he can and just making poor D-Man just go kind of insane. The great panel on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long horizontal panel with boom on the right and his fist just going right next to Cap's face. He's like, not one of my better plans. If that had hit me, I'd be wallpaper. And he's right. That looks like it would have, just smashed his head into
the paste
pulp. Yeah.
So this continues on the final page here. Cap's thinking as he's dodging another, like just a crazy body slam into the wall. All I can do is conserve as much energy as I can. And then he realizes, I just got to, basically, it's like keeping someone ODing on drugs, walking around, give them coffee, don't let them fall asleep, like kind of thing. Like he's like, I just got to keep doing this until this dope wears off in his system, the stimulant. So it says the most harrowing half hour of Cap's life later. So he's been ping-ponging around the room, just letting this guy punch and destroy titanium walls. And then finally he convulses and falls down and says his muscles seem to be contracting. D-Man falls back and he says, D-Man, Dennis, it's me, Captain America. Do you understand? He says, her heart feels like a knife in it. He realizes, oh fuck, he's having a cardiac episode. So he says it's hard to breathe. He's like, don't try to talk, Dennis. And he says, one thing before I go, as a partner, how was I? Like, you're the best, D-Man. What's so sad?
Like, sad.
He just wanted Captain America to say he was a good partner before he dies.
Yep.
And he's like, not were, are. You're not checking out on me, man. And he starts doing compressions on his chest. He's like, fight it, man. Don't let it go. I'm not letting you go. You hear? He's listening to his heart. Starts doing more compressions. Not letting you go. And it says the finale is up next. Power broken.
Oof.
So yeah, apparently Cap's going to do that until the night shift gets an EMT there and puts him on a respiratory machine or something. It's a fucked up ending.
Yeah, it's a crazy fucked up ending. No, this was just moving right into final thoughts. I love that it kind of tied, so those Spider-Woman issues and weird characters that we met throughout the run of Spider-Woman that we went through on this show. And it was pretty cool. I mean, I can't decide if this technically is the least meaningful appearance by Jack. It's tied with like maybe Spider-Woman 49, maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, Jack doesn't have
meaningful.
Well, yeah,
substantial.
I mean, substantial, more than just,
or substantive, I guess would be.
Yeah, more than just 5 or 6 panels total. Okay. So, but I think this will probably be the most slight appearance we'll have to go through. I think it gets a little more. Jackson, a little more of the issues that we have coming up.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I did consciously choose to keep all the night shift appearances in that Jackson because I like the night shift and I always like the Shroud. So
yeah,
some of this is me selfishly just wanting to read night shift in order because I've never done it. Is that your final thought?
Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay.
But I mean, I liked it. Yeah, I really thought this issue was cool.
I liked it a lot. I love the art. I think that you helped me put my finger on what I like about Grunwald's writing as far as like he thinks visually a lot of times and he thinks through everything, like all the possibilities. So nothing seems slapdash and nothing seems haphazard. It seems like he really thought through things. He looked at probably a picture of a sewer, like an encyclopedia, and was like, what could Cap do in this space? Like, it feels like he really commits to these stories and then writes detailed notes to his artist to do cool stuff with. I'm guessing. I don't know. But I mean, just like we were saying, the fact that it carries across from one artist to another, I don't think it's a coincidence.
I don't think so. I bet we're 100% right on that. And again, you have to think back, like, yeah, when he's like, okay, I want to really think about what a sewer looks like. He doesn't have the fucking internet. He has to go, to an encyclopedia or a book of clippings. I would like to think that like there's some kind of like secret library of clippings that like Joe Sinnott has been adding to since 1962 or something, that people can go and just kind of take as a Bible for stuff like this, which I mean, a lot of artists in previous eras would call a swipe file in a lot of ways. But yeah, it seems like Grunwald did his homework in a lot of ways. Like I can imagine he thinks he writes visually, which I mean, you would think is obviously that's a no-brainer. This is a visual medium, but not every script that we've read or that I've read does that exactly.
No.
But I think that Grunwald really spent time thinking about the mechanics and the physics of the actions that he's describing, and it totally shows.
Yeah, and there's something I really like about the way that Grunwald grasps the super soldier serum, like that. It is that peak performance. Like it's not Spider-Man. He's not boinging around off the walls. Like he's not doing all this crazy shit. It's peak humanity. Like whatever the best a human being could ever attain is, that's what Cap can do. Yeah,
and I think a large part of that is moves like
parkour.
It's like parkour, but I really think it has a lot of basis in gymnastics, in different ways of contorting the body and fluid. I mean, Cap's moves are always fluid; they're not haphazard, and they're always very deliberate. And I think that's the right concoction that Grunwald writes for Cap, and that's why he's considered one of the greatest Cap writers, if not the greatest, honestly.
Yeah, and that's why Brubaker's pretty damn good, but and that's why Maroon 5 had that song "Moves Like Rogers." I mean, that's where that comes from.
I had no idea.
Nosferatu, does this word not sound like the death bird calling your name at midnight? Beware you never saw it, for then the pictures of life will fade to shadows. Haunting dreams will climb forth from your heart and feed on your blood.
Join your undead co-hosts, Russell and Justin, as they take a deep dive into the world of vampire comics, including such titles as Tomb of Dracula, I, Vampire, Vampirella, and 30 Days of Night. Each episode will also include a review of a different vampire film. This podcast has need of you this night. Please let us in and listen to Stakes and Staples, a vampiric comic book podcast.
There is a letter. Can I read a letter?
Sure.
Some of these scans that I'm finding have the letters columns. So I thought, well, let's jump ahead and see if anybody wrote in. And there are. My fellow Americans. Oh, by the way, this letters column was called American Graffiti.
Yeah.
So I just use myself sometimes.
Yeah. No, they actually include the letters columns.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Marvel Unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah.
My fellow Americans. Wow. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed Cap 330. Night Shift was the best band of villains I've ever seen. Who would have known I would finish this issue liking the bad guys? I guess that's because they were on Cap's side. I especially like the Brothers Grimm. They had a sense of humor to the group. I also enjoyed the Shroud, Dancing Macabre, the Needle, Tatterdemalion, TikTok, and the rest. But the next time I see them, I'd like to see an all-out brawl between Cap and the Night Shift. Now about D-Man. Please don't kill him off. Cap's got enough problems without having to carry the weight of D-Man's death. After all, Cap's the one who got him involved in this. You never know. Just give him some new duds, something original, and he could be a great partner for Cap. I would also like to comment on the stupendous artwork by Tom Morgan. I echo that. Right. It's too bad that Paul Neary is leaving. I also echo that. He was an excellent penciler. It so happens that Paul started drawing Cap with issue 292, the very first issue of Cap I bought. I guess you could say that it was Paul Neary's art that hooked me on the series. I'm not worried, however, because as long as Tom Morgan is penciling, I'll have no complaints. Thanks a heap for the years of spectacular star-spangled artwork, Paul. James Crean, Seaford, New York. I like that letter.
I like that letter a lot. That's great.
Yeah. Yes, we'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. What did you think about this appearance of Night Shift? What did you think about the fact that I chose to include this in scheduling because the schedule is fluid? Are you feeling weird about season 3 not having as much Jack as you wanted? Let us know. You can call into the voicemail line, which is 971-220-5865, 971-220-JUNK. Let us know how you feel about these appearances where Jack's essentially a cameo, which is another drink.
Drink to that.
What do you think about the Night Shift? I think they're freaking cool, but I'm happy to hear people say, why the hell are you guys doing this? We'll play it on the show. It's fun. Jacob, we have something else coming up, which is a thing called the bonus show. That is special content that we make for our lovely Patreon supporters every week.
That's right. So on the bonus show this week, we are going to be talking about the movie The Howling 2, My Sister is a Werewolf.
You say my sister is a werewolf every time it's your sister.
Your sister is a werewolf.
I think it's adorable that you get it wrong.
Yes.
Because I get stuff wrong all the time.
So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about a issue of Cap, right? We're going to be talking about Cap 319 going through the appearances of the Scourge.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is a critical...
This is a critical
issue.
issue.
Call these keystone issues? Is that what
this is a keystone Scourge in the saga of the Scourge? This is a big issue. So, yeah, we'll be going through the whole thing, and if you're a Patreon supporter of $3 or above, you get the video version of the bonus show. Matt does a lot of fancy editing on the Scourge segments. You're going to get to actually see all the panels that we're talking about, and it's definitely worth the money. So if you'd like to become a supporter on Patreon, you can just go to Patreon/Werewolf by Night podcast and see what tier you might want to join up on. So for our next issue, we're going to be talking about Solo Avengers 3. That is another appearance of Jack Russell in the 80s. So that's what's up for next episode.
Cool. Thanks for listening, folks. Hopefully we'll be joining you, or you'll be joining us, on the bonus show. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next week for that Solo Avengers number 3 issue. All right, Jacob, good to talk to you on this one.
Definitely. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening out there, folks. Till we meet again, neath the full moon for everyone's Here's Howlin' At Ya.